Hey there, this is Kyle Meagher, and you're listening to Tobin Tonight.
Welcome to Tobin Tonight. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good.
Kyle, I guess to start off, tell me a little bit about your background. Like, how did you get into acting? Because I know you're on Annie with an E, but where did you develop your interest in acting?
I've been acting for a really long time now. I think it's like 6 or 7 years. And it all started because I had been looking for another extracurricular activity. I really enjoyed my school and regular local theater community. So I was like, maybe I'll try this acting thing because of my local agency having these open calls. So I went in. They were like, oh my God, you're great. You're like 11. You can talk to people. Great. We'll send you on these auditions. So I went on a bunch of auditions. I ended up landing some crazy roles like, Anne with an E, Earth Rangers, Murdoch Mysteries, all kinds of really amazing opportunities. And that's kind of how I got into acting.
Okay, no, I was just doing a little bit of a background there, and again, I looked up the Annie with an E, seen in Murdoch Mysteries. Now, I could be wrong about this, but I think it was interesting. I looked up, I think you were maybe 10 at the time, that you were getting ready to audition for a role, and you had a hockey game at the same time, and someone kind of moved you up in the lineup, and it kind of gave you a little bit of a break. Is that true?
Yeah, because I had walked into my local agency and I was panicking because, 10-year-old me was like, oh God, I gotta get to this hockey game, oh no, and I was like, Mom, we gotta go to this hockey game. We started to walk out the door, the agent kind of stepped out and was like, hey, where are you going? And I'm like, hockey game, and they're like, well, come on audition for us anyway, and because he stopped me at the door, and that's really what kind of got me started on this acting career, because he signed me. And that's kind of how I ended up doing all this.
Yeah, because I was going to say, if they didn't stop you at the door, you would have went to the hockey game, and who knows, you could have been drafted. But, I mean, I don't know how your hockey career is, Kyle. How was your hockey career?
Well, gotta say, I've been playing hockey since I was 4. And, yeah, I can't say that I'm NHL quality, but I'm pretty good. I'm pretty okay.
Would we ever see a Justin Bieber versus Kyle in a shootout, or is that a little bit too vicious?
A fellow Canadian, I can't imagine it'd be that vicious, but I'd definitely be down for a one-on-one battle versus JB.
Come on, Kyle. This is hockey. This is Canadian. What are you talking about? It's not going to be that vicious. It's going to be incredibly vicious. Let's get into a little bit about your music side of things, because, again, you were acting, but how did you get into the music side?
Well, basically, it all started on, one of these acting TV shows that I was on. I was on a show called Seven Hills, and, of course, even before this, I've been playing music, piano, I've been singing, guitar, saxophone even. But what really actually got me started professionally was a show called Seven Hills. The director had said, hey, I understand that some of our cast actually does music on the side as well, or even professionally at the time, and wanted to know if we'd like to contribute a song to the soundtrack. And of course, I was like, oh my God, this is my first time writing, my first time recording. But in the end, it turned out really well, and it was definitely a great experience, and it made me want to keep pursuing music as an actual career.
So when I was doing a little bit of research, now this could have been before or a little bit after, there was this thing called a Just Show Up show, and I think Austin Mahone was the kind of the big act, but you just kind of showed up and auditioned. Was that before or after?
There's a little bit wrong with that. I actually didn't audition for that show. I was asked to go, and that was way after I first started music. I'd actually already written my first couple songs here and there, and I got to perform them for the first time actually live at that show amongst acts like Austin Mahone, Bryce, and I got to say, being able to meet all these musicians was pretty cool, honestly, and play in front of so many people.
Bryce Vine, you mentioned. Did you ever get a chance to talk to him?
Yeah, I've seen Bryce Vine 4 times now, just out and about. I met him at 2 different shows amongst, Alec Benjamin was at one of them too, but I met Bryce Vine. We got to chit-chat before the show and after the show. Really, really nice guy. And then one time I just randomly saw him at an airport, and I was like, yo, that's Bryce. And he was like, hey, it's Kyle, man. So I really like the guy. I love his music a lot. And I think he's really helped me to kind of, grow. And he said he really liked my set, so I mean.
I thought it was interesting. You had an album out, and it was called Beats in a Bagel Shop. Kyle, describe why you named an album Beats in a Bagel Shop.
Oh my God, I love telling this story. So basically, it all started, of course, actually not in a bagel shop. I had been seeing this girl at the time, and there was a lot of stuff to go around it. Like, a bunch of the songs actually linked directly to this relationship. But this one song was, basically, I went to this bagel shop with this girl, expecting for it to just be one of those normal things, but then all of a sudden, she ended up breaking up with me there. And I was like, really? You had to do it at a bagel shop of all places? Kind of weird. And then I ended up writing a bunch of songs about it, and then at the end, it just felt kind of fitting that since all these songs kind of pertain to, like, that person in that setting, that I named it Beats in a Bagel Shop.
Now, that bagel shop wouldn't be called Tim Hortons, would it?
No, that'd be too coincidental.
That would be funny though, because it's like, Kyle, I know you want to call your album, a Tim Hortons breakup, but Tim Hortons is going to be on our ass, so you might want to change it up. You're like, yeah, I'm going to just call it Beats in a Bagel Shop, but then someone's like, I think a rapper has that out, and you're like, no, it's mine. Tell him I want the copyrights.
It's too late. It's fine now.
It's too late. Now, see, I like your story because in my mind, Beats in a Bagel Shop, I thought, honestly, I was like, oh, Kyle probably worked in a bagel shop and they fired him because he was in the back working on beats, or
this is my diss track.
Yeah, or like you were feeding, or like when customers came in, you were like, and they're like, Kyle, just serve them, please.
Actually, the Beats in a Bagel Shop thing actually meant more than just that story too. Like, it was about musical beats, obviously, which is what we were talking about, but it also is like about like a heartbeat. Like, that's where my heart is beating in that bagel shop, and otherwise, anyway.
We're getting real detailed. Hey, Kyle. Okay. Real sentimental here. All right. I guess Nowhere was your really kind of big hit that people kind of started to see you, were kind of see that you were out there and doing music and not just being an actor. What do you think your preference is? Do you like both equally, or do you see yourself doing one more than the other?
So I actually get this question really, really often about whether I prefer acting or music, and every single time my honest answer is that I don't understand why I have to choose one or the other. I have done acting for the majority, and I've done music for the majority of my life as well. So I actually like to find a way to mix the two. Like on my actual Beats in a Bagel Shop EP, I made a visual album out of it so that it was music, and then I acted in a short film that kind of went along with it. And even some of the TV shows I've been on, I've had to contribute music to the tracks or become part of TV shows that have a musical element to it. So that's kind of what I like to do. I don't think I really have to end up choosing one or the other.
No, for sure. I like your response. I like how you're giving me a little bit of shit for asking that question, Kyle. Come on, Kyle. I'm your buddy here, Kyle. So basically what you're saying is, let's put Kyle in a TV show called High School Musical. I think it's been done, Kyle. No.
100%. Please put me on High School Musical. I love that movie. Degrassi musical edition, and I think it'll work. You just gotta remember that because it's Canadian, you have to have your Canadian tuxedo. Yeah, I'd love to be like the Drake from Degrassi kind of thing, or like some sort of High School Musical character. That'd be like my dream, to be on one of those kinds of shows.
If someone has never come across your music and you wanted to promote yourself, what would you tell them?
Well, I'd say, hey, my name's Kyle. I'm a musician, and I actually kind of deal with pop, but I always like to put kind of twists on it. Like, my first actual song was Nowhere, and it had a lot of a country vibe to it, but then with my newer songs, I've tried to work in a reggae vibe, and even, like, since I actually have, like, a hard rock background in terms of my music, sometimes, like, some really heavier guitars or, some rock influences end up in there, so that's kind of what I do.
Yeah, all right, and to clue it up, Kyle, we're gonna play a game called Firsts. So, are you ready to play a game called Firsts? Okay.
Absolutely.
It could be a first interaction with celebrity, your first crush, your first song. It's just the idea of getting you to retrace your memory and see if we can find out some dirt on Kyle.
Oh, God.
So, Kyle, I guess the first question would be your first celebrity crush.
Oh, boy. Taylor Swift.
Really? Oh, Kyle, you're already off to a bad start.
I sounds like a cop-out, but, like, I listened to Taylor Swift as long as I can remember, and I always thought she was, pretty cute,
Well,
whatever.
just don't date her, Kyle. You don't want that song written about you. Your first date that didn't get a breakup in a bagel shop.
Oh God, that would have had to have been a while back. It actually wasn't a bagel shop. It was actually a Tim Hortons. So technically still a bagel shop.
Oh.
It wasn't a breakup, but
So I was almost right. Cool.
almost.
Okay, and your first sport that you ever remember playing?
Gotta be hockey. I've been playing since I was like literally 4, and like I don't remember walking when I was like 4. I actually remember skating more than that.
Oh wow, okay. True Canadian,
Yeah.
true Canadian, true Ontario, right there. All you needed to do to make that more Canadian or Ontarian or whatever was just to add that A at the end. The first cover that you remember doing.
So I think the first cover that I actually remember doing, like in terms of like non-professionally, I think it was a Justin Bieber song. Like I remember kind of being in front of my family and I was like, guys, listen to this. And then I busted out Baby by Justin Bieber. Gotta say.
Oh, baby,
Good times.
baby, home. Oh, okay, that's fair. I'll partake in that. And the last first I'll get you to do is, who would be the first person that you would call, like the biggest celebrity person that you would call if you ever came up with a duet?
I don't know. I have like I think my favorite like person to call in terms of songwriting and like all that. Like I'd love to sit in a room and write with Ed Sheeran. But otherwise, I think like if I could do not a duet, like a romantic one, obviously, because, you know, it's Shawn Mendes. Sorry, Shawn Mendes, I don't like you that way. But I'd love to do like a kind of cool song with Shawn Mendes at some point. That'd be sick.
Okay, no, that's cool. So that was a game of firsts, and I just got 2 questions here to finish it off, Kyle. What do you see coming up in the boat or, you know, in the future in 2020 for you?
So I've got a couple things coming up. First things first, I've got a new visual album that I'm trying to make right now. It's a Beats in a Bagel Shop 2, but not really a Beats in a Bagel Shop 2. It's going to be called something else. That's going to be coming up soon. I'm also going to be touring sometime in the summer-ish. I don't really have too much information to say about that right now, but I'll probably say more about it in the spring. And then also I have like this, you know, that show that I was talking about where I first started doing, you know, music professionally. Well, they actually just got greenlit and we're going to be refilming that again. And so it's kind of a mix between music and acting, as I mentioned earlier. And it's about the opioid crisis. So I'm really excited to share more information about that too.
All right, no, that sounds awesome. And I guess the last question I have for you here is, when you're doing music, when you're writing songs, what's your process? Like, what do you write about? Do you write about your breakups? Do you just write about everyday life? Or is it something that's deeper than that?
So, like, in terms of my actual songwriting, I like to write with other people most of the time, but most of the ideas actually come from my real-life experiences, and I like to draw from that. Like, my first song, Nowhere, actually came from somebody in real life telling me to my face, yeah, your acting career, probably going nowhere. And I was like, what?
Did you come up with the song then right on the spot and then start singing it to their face? No.
Oh, I'd love to, but actually I sat down with somebody else later. I was like, oh my God, they told me this and that, the other thing. And then finally I was like, oh my God, there's my song. Yeah. And it's that kind of thing where sometimes it is just in the moment. Like, you know, one time this person, like that girl that dumped me in a bagel shop, after that I was like, oh, you know, you think you're way too good for me, but I think that I've kind of risen above that.
That's going to do it for this episode of Tobin Tonight. Our thanks to Kyle Meagher for coming on the show. Remember, you can find past, present, and future episodes on TobinTonight.com, Spotify, and iTunes. Follow us on Twitter, like us on Facebook, and leave a comment or two. For Tobin and myself, this is Jacob saying, thanks for listening, and good night.